Marketing is hard. But I'll tell you a little secret. It doesn't have to be. Let me point something out. You're listening to a podcast right now, and it's great. You love the host. You seek it out and download it. You listen to it while driving, working out, cooking, even going to the bathroom. Podcasts are a pretty close companion. And this is a podcast ad. Did I get your attention? You can reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Libsyn Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a pre-produced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience in their favorite podcasts with Libsyn Ads. Go to libsynads.com, that's Libsyn, ads.com today.
All right, so you want to build a D&D campaign that your players will be talking about for years, huh? Well, you've come to the right place. I bet you're ready to start drawing up maps and stuff, but hold on a sec. Before we get to any of that, we got to talk players.
It's true. You can have the coolest dungeon, the most epic magic items, but if your players aren't feeling it, it's a recipe for a flop.
That's where this campaign crafter thing comes in, right? I've heard it's got some good stuff about really understanding what makes different players tick.
Absolutely. It calls them player motivations. Basically, what gets different people excited about D&D. Some folks are all about the story, some love a good fight, others want to solve puzzles and outsmart their enemies.
So it's kind of like it's not a one-size-fits-all approach to DMing.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that your players are individuals with different tastes. Just like you wouldn't serve steak to a vegetarian, you don't want to force a combat-heavy campaign on a group that thrives on role-playing and intrigue.
Okay, I think I get it. But how do you figure out what your players actually want? It's not like there's a personality test for D&D.
That's where these player archetypes come in handy. They're like these general categories that can give you a head start in figuring out what makes your players tick. For example, let's talk about actors.
Oh yeah, the ones who get super into character. Like they'd spend an hour role-playing a conversation with the barkeep instead of just saying, I ask for rumors.
Exactly. They live for those moments of deep immersion where they can really embody their characters and explore the nuances of their personalities and motivations.
So like, for them, discovering a powerful artifact would be cool and all, but it wouldn't compare to, say, reuniting with a long-lost loved one or something.
Exactly.
Right.
They find their thrills in the emotional and social elements of the game. Now imagine you've got an actor at your table, and you're running a campaign that's all about dungeon crawls and fighting monsters. They're probably going to feel pretty unfulfilled.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. Like their character's just there, not really driving the story forward or anything, just tagging along.
Right. But on the flip side, imagine giving that same actor a chance to shine in a role-playing heavy scenario. Maybe they need to convince a skeptical king to lend them his army, or negotiate a tense treaty between two warring factions. They'd be in their element.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So as a DM, I got to figure out what each of those player types really enjoys, and then make sure I'm giving them opportunities for those things to happen.
Exactly. Campaign Crafter gives a bunch of tips for this. For an actor, one idea is to give them NPCs with strong personalities to play off of, like a witty bard who travels with them, or a mysterious oracle who speaks in riddles. You know, those interactions that really get their creative juices flowing.
Oh, and maybe give them chances to actually influence the story with their role-playing. Like, what if their character's backstory could actually tie directly into the main plot somehow?
That's brilliant. And that's how you make a campaign unforgettable, right? It's not just a story you're telling, but a story you're creating together. And speaking of stories, what about those players who live for exploration? The ones who always want to know what's over the next hill or hidden in the deep, dark forest. Let's talk about explorers.
Explorers. Those are the ones who would spend hours mapping out every nook and cranny of a dungeon if you let them, right? They live for those moments when they discover something cool and unexpected.
Yeah, the ones who get excited about finding a secret passage or an ancient ruin. It's all about uncovering the hidden corners of your world.
Okay, I can see how that could be a challenge. As a DM, I can only draw so many maps and hide so many secret passages. What's the secret here?
Well, Campaign Crafter says it's more about detail than size. It's not just about having a huge world. It's about making that world come alive for the explorer.
So instead of just saying, you enter a dense forest, you could describe the way the sunlight filters through the canopy, the scent of pine needles in the air, maybe even the rustling of some unseen creature in the undergrowth.
Exactly. You can practically feel the explorer's imagination going wild with those little details. It's about painting a picture with your words, sparking their curiosity, and making them feel like they're really there.
So what you're saying is don't skimp on the descriptions. Give those explorers something to sink their teeth into. Sensory details, evocative language, the works.
The source even suggests using props or sound effects to enhance the experience. Imagine dimming the lights and playing some eerie music as your players descend into a long-forgotten tomb.
Okay, yeah, that's next-level DMing. But how do we reward that curiosity in a way that feels meaningful? I mean, I can't exactly hide a magical artifact under every rock.
You don't have to. Sometimes the most rewarding discoveries are the ones that tie into the world you've created or uncover a piece of forgotten lore. Maybe that obscure inscription they found actually hints at the location of a lost city, or that strange flower they picked turns out to be a key ingredient in a rare potion.
So it's about making their attention to detail feel worthwhile, like their explorations are uncovering something truly significant.
Precisely. You want to validate that sense of wonder and make them feel like they're playing a crucial role in uncovering the secrets of your world.
Okay, explorers, consider yourselves validated. Now, how about we shake things up a bit? This next player type sounds like they keep things interesting, to say the least. Let's talk about instigators.
Ah, yes, instigators. They're the unpredictable element in any group. The ones who might throw a wrench in your carefully laid plans, but in the most exciting way possible.
Okay, exciting is one way to put it.
Yeah.
The source describes them as thriving on chaos and spontaneity, which, let's be honest, can be a bit nerve-wracking for a DM who likes to be prepared.
Well, the key with instigators is to embrace the unexpected. They're not necessarily trying to derail your campaign. They're just adding their own brand of chaos to the mix.
So instead of fighting against their impulsive nature, you're saying, I should roll with it.
Exactly. Turn their unpredictability into opportunities for memorable encounters and exciting detours. Did they just decide to pickpocket the king in the middle of his coronation?
Oh man, that sounds like a recipe for disaster. But also incredibly entertaining.
Exactly. Now, you have a choice. You can shut it down, tell them it's not a good idea, and force them back onto the planned path, or you can embrace the chaos and see where it leads.
I can see how that could go either really well or really badly, depending on the instigator
Yeah.
and the DM's ability to think on their feet.
That's the fun of it. The source actually suggests building in fail-forward mechanics for instigators, so even if their plan goes awry, it doesn't ruin the game.
Okay, I love that. So instead of a game over moment, it becomes a how do we get out of this mess moment, which could lead to even more exciting challenges and unexpected rewards.
Precisely. You're essentially saying, I trust you to make interesting choices, even if those choices aren't always the most sensible ones.
So the key to dealing with an instigator is to loosen up, expect the unexpected, and be prepared to improvise.
You got it. And who knows, their impulsive actions might just lead you to discover something amazing that you never even planned for. That's the beauty of D&D, right?
All right, so we've talked about players who love to explore, who love to cause a little chaos, but what about those players who are all about building the most powerful character possible? You know, the ones who practically start counting their loot before the enemies even hit the ground.
Ah, you're talking about power gamers. The ones who see the game as a system to be mastered. Always looking for those optimal builds and those crazy combos.
Right, like they're not satisfied with just finding a magic sword. They want to know it's got the best enchantments, the coolest history, the whole shebang.
And you know, some DMs might see that as a challenge, but Campaign Crafter actually frames it as a real opportunity. Because these players, they thrive on progression.
Okay, so it's not about punishing them for min-maxing or anything. It's about making them feel like that optimization actually pays off in the game.
Precisely. Give them challenges that really test those optimized builds. Don't just throw generic encounters their way. Design something that forces them to use their unique abilities to their full potential.
Oh, so like a puzzle boss. One with weird mechanics that you can't just brute force your way through.
Exactly. Make them think, make them strategize, make them really earn that victory. And when they finally take down that boss, oh man, they're going to feel like they earned every copper piece of that loot.
And they're going to tell everyone about it. It'll be a story for the ages. You see this scar? Yeah, I got this battling the puzzle master for this here amulet.
See? That's what it's all about, giving those power gamers those moments of triumph, those stories they can brag about. But remember, balance is key.
Right, because not everyone's there for the power fantasy. Some players, they just want to experience a damn good story.
Ah, the storytellers. These are the players who are invested in the narrative, the world building, the emotional core of your campaign.
Yeah, they're the ones who get really attached to the NPCs, who get invested in the political intrigue, who want to know what happens next.
and to keep them happy. Give them mysteries to solve, conspiracies to unravel, make them feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves.
So like maybe they uncover an ancient prophecy that seems to be coming true, or they stumble upon a secret society pulling strings behind the scenes.
Exactly. And don't forget to make it personal. Tie their character's backstory into the main plot somehow. Maybe they discover a hidden connection to a legendary hero, or realize their family heirloom is actually an artifact of immense power.
Oh man, that's good stuff. Make them feel like they're not just playing a game, they're living out a grand epic. Okay, this is all fantastic advice. I'm learning so much. I gotta ask, we've covered a lot of different player types, but what about the quiet ones? The ones who don't always speak up, but you can tell they're really paying attention.
The Watchers. They might not be the most vocal players at the table, but that doesn't mean they're not enjoying themselves. They're like sponges, soaking up the atmosphere, the story, the interactions.
Yeah, they might not always jump in with a witty quip or a daring plan, but they're taking it all in, processing everything.
And the key with them, don't pressure them. Let them participate at their own pace. Maybe they're happy just describing their character's reactions or making smaller decisions.
Right. No need to put them on the spot or anything. Just create a welcoming environment where they feel comfortable contributing however they feel comfortable.
Exactly. And you never know. As they get more comfortable, they might surprise you by becoming more active. But even if they don't, that's okay too. The important thing is that they're enjoying themselves.
That's what it's all about, right? So as we wrap up this deep dive into Campaign Crafter, what's the one thing you hope our listeners take away from this?
I think the biggest takeaway is this. There's no one-size-fits-all approach to DMing. Every group is different. Every player is different. And that's what makes this hobby so amazing.
It's about understanding those differences, those unique motivations, and using them to craft an experience that's fun and engaging for everyone.
Exactly. Get to know your players, figure out what makes them tick, and then watch as they create something truly unforgettable.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And you know what? That's a great note to end on. This whole deep dive has been eye-opening, and I'm feeling super inspired. So to all you DMs out there, get to know your players, and make some D&D magic. Until next time, may your dice rolls be ever in your favor.